Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mayor's Monday Message for June 8th, 2020. I want to start out thanking everyone. It's been quite a week around here and throughout the city. And I just want to thank 99.999% of the people who acted responsibly and came out to hear their voices heard. It was a very good week, and when you look around at some of the stuff going on in the country, it really shows that we are here and serious about getting our message out there. And I'm going to talk about that some more here in a little bit. But I want to kick it off with some concerns I have about people not getting information. I don't know what more to do to get people information, but all the tickets, street sweeping, parking tickets, we've been announcing this for weeks that they are back on. We delayed them because of COVID. We knew that a lot of people were out of work and were at home. That's done now. And on Friday, everybody's going to be back to work. So we did that for everybody's benefit. But now it has come to an end. So please share it with your neighbors. If you see neighbors that are parked out there during street sweeping, please tell them, because we've tried everything. We did press releases. We've been saying it on the Monday messages and on posts on the city's page, on the city's Facebook page, and we just got to get this information out there. I'm sorry that some people got tickets and they didn't know it, but I just can't keep forgiving everybody's tickets because they were not informed. I mean, we've done everything that is humanly possible other than to send a letter to every individual, and that would cost us, I believe, about $7,000 to do that. So please share the information. Meter parking, the parking garages are charging again. Everything is just back to normal when it comes to all of the city, most of the city's functions. City Hall is still closed and by appointment only for right now. Give us a couple weeks as we get into the green phase, and we're going to work on that. Also, the city's budget has taken a huge hit, just like many of your budgets have taken a huge hit. And we're going to have to, we're furloughing some people, which is a temporary leave for right now. And also you're going to see some things it's going to take us a little longer to get to. So I've already noticed, the grass in the parks gets a little bit longer when we have all this rain that we're getting. We're trying to keep up with everything, but please be patient with us, because we right now are trying to figure out how to control costs, because anything that we can't control now ends up turning into taxes later. So we don't want to do that, but things are looking really rough across the country for all municipal governments, and thus far we have not gotten any assistance from the federal government or the state government when it comes to the costs of running the city. We got some money for the people that we have gotten out there in the forms of grants and the rental assistance that's coming, and got some other money for the equipment and for the time to help with coronavirus, but we haven't gotten anything to pay the bills. So please be patient with us as we try to find ways to get through this time where we really can't afford to do the things that we like to do and we know we need to do for the community. So we're working on that. So the good news is COVID-19, coronavirus, we are going to green on Friday. Very exciting. Everything else is already opened up, but now our barber shops and nail salons and gyms and library and other things. I don't know what the schedule of the library is on yet, but everything can open at least at a partial capacity. So we're going to have to keep our social distancing, but our restaurants are open and serving outside. And it was really a good time this weekend. Now they'll be able to serve inside also at limited capacity, but we're getting back on track. Having said that, our numbers are starting to go back up again. So I'm asking you to please, this is not done. Just because it says green phase, we're pushing the limits here. Our numbers are going up again. So I want you to please continue to wear your masks when you're, in a group of people that you haven't been in contact with. Obviously, you can't eat your dinner wearing a mask, but please, we're asking all the restaurants to keep those tables apart and follow the CDC guidelines. Also, I'm hearing of some businesses that are not necessarily following the rules. Please, if you have anyone that has gotten coronavirus, it is your duty to be taking everyone's temperature, to making sure everybody's wearing masks. All these things are still required by the state government. So I'm very, very concerned to hear that a few large facilities, the factory-style facilities, are not following the protocols. Now, they're not in the city, but I know a lot of city employees work at these warehouses and processing factories, things like that. So please make sure that you are following all the CDC guidelines. And if you have anybody that comes down with the virus, it is your duty to take care of the rest of your employees. And there is a site, we'll put the link up, there is a site to inform the state government if your employer is not following the rules. So we'll give that to you here in a little bit. So back to the week of the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protests. Again, I want to thank everybody in York, except for 2 or 3, that held themselves well and really represented York City well. We have a lot of work to do right now. We need to transition from protesting to actually getting stuff done. So last week, I made a statement and I got a couple of emails back to me that were very angry when I said that this problem, the problem of discrimination in this country, whether it be the police officer, a judge, a mayor, or anybody, this is a white people problem. I say that, and let me just say that one commenter said, by saying that I target white people. I'm not targeting white people. I'm saying that white people still control the vast majority of the decision making in this country. No matter who the legislation has been for to protect and improve their quality of life, whether it's been civil rights, whether it's been women's rights, gay rights, even animal rights, it's all been passed by white people, and the majority of them have been white men. So please, I am talking to the people that need to make these decisions. I am not saying anything bad about the white people. I'm saying that they need to get involved to make these decisions. Saying that, let me talk to everybody that is, let's say, already on the side of improving the civil rights, of police reform, of these things. To get action, to get real action in Congress or at a state legislature, it's not about your voice. It's about getting a majority of people, using your voice to get a majority of the people to support what you are proposing. There are 2 things that really hold you back from doing that. Number 1, violence, which makes the whole story right now about violence instead of about police reform, or I would say at least the top headlines are about violence. The top headlines are not about the specific things. We're meeting today for to talk about the 8 points that can be changed nearly immediately just by a little internal reform. You may have seen those 8 points going around. But the violence takes away from building allies, building the tent. To get anything done, you need 51%. And you need 51% in a House, whether it's the state house or the House and Congress. You need 51% of the Senate's, and then you need a governor or a president that is going to go along with it. If the governor or president doesn't go along with it, then you need over 60% so that you can have a veto-proof majority. We need people of all colors, creeds, races, sexes. We need all of them to come together to be able to actually put the pressure on or change the hearts and minds of the people that are making decisions. What that means is that if people are willing to stand with us, it is not the time to point out the things we don't agree with them about. It is time to build support, to build the big tent that is required to move Congress, to move a president. You know, most of you know that I come from a background with environmental advocacy. Richard Nixon was not a huge environmentalist. Richard Nixon supported the Clean Water Act and the creation of the EPA because the support in the country at that time was so strong that he knew if he went against it, he would be risking his political career. That's the position that we have to put politicians in if we are going to get these things passed. Police reform, more civil rights, economic rights. We have to put our politicians, even if they don't believe what we believe, we have to put them in that position that they know they won't be representing us next time if they don't do what we're saying. So it's not time to say, oh, 10 years ago you said this and this and I thought it was racist. No. If we really, really want to do this, if we really, really want to change things, it's time to build the big tent, forgive people what they did yesterday if they're willing to stand for real, not as a photo op, but if they're willing to stand with us right now. It is time to think about tomorrow, not about yesterday. Because thinking about yesterday is not going to get us what we want tomorrow. So please, I hope you will consider this. I've been working at social change for 30 years. I've been studying how it gets done. You know, the protesters aren't the ones that change the world. They're the ones that light the match. They're the ones that get everybody saying, oh, you know what? That is something to think about. And then more people say, yeah, they are right. And more people say that. But when you get violent, it gives your opposition an excuse. It gives the media an excuse. It gives everybody an excuse to focus on the violence instead of the fact that you are right. What you believe is right and true. And change needs to be made now. But we don't get there by violence, and we don't get there by not being able to forgive some things that have happened in the past. I will speak for myself when I say, as a white person in America, I have been and continue to learn new things about myself and the habits I have and the things I need to change because people hear differently than what I am saying or what I am thinking. They hear words that trigger. And it might not mean anything to me internally because I've never been called that name. I've never been called, I've never been discriminated against because of these things. So we, including myself, those people that want to be allies and consider ourselves allies, are always constantly learning. So please, what I'm asking those that have been the victims of this abuse but want to see change, I'm asking you to give us space to grow and to help us grow so that we can work together so that our grandchildren, it won't happen with our children, but maybe our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, none of this stuff will all be a memory. This stuff will all be, how much do you hear these days? It's possible. It is possible that this change can happen. How much do you hear these days about people not getting hired because they're Irish, or because they're German, or because they're Catholic? In the last 100 years, those were reasons that people used to not hire people, to be prejudiced against them. And you really don't hear a lot about that anymore. So I do have hope that we can change and be better as human beings, because it's in our past. We have seen it. But again, it takes all of us. It takes the white people recognizing that there are problems. These problems are real, and we need to be allies to help change them. It takes people of color to realize that white people are a work in progress, and please help us. And if you can tell our intentions are right, then forgive us for some of our stuff that we've done in the past. That's how we build the coalition that can actually change our world. So I hope you will join me. If you can't tell, if you haven't seen any of the footage of the protests or been at the protests, I'm 100% committed to this change. I've thrown out any concern about being reelected or donors or anything like that. I really don't care about that right now. I've already gotten notifications from people that are very, very angry about what I've said, and I don't care. This is too important, and it is a time that we can actually grasp the public murder of George Floyd and use that as a symbol to get change. And we can't let this slip. We can't let this pass us by. It is time right now to take action. And when I say take action, I don't mean, you know what I mean. I mean, let's work together. Having said that, there are 2 events today. I don't know what size they're going to be, but at 4 o'clock there's a gathering led by the public defenders. A group called, or an event called Black Lives Matter to Public Defenders. And that's going to be on the first block of North George Street at 4 o'clock. I don't know what's happening there. I'm just, if you want to come, I don't know how many people are going to be there. I haven't even seen anything on Facebook. I just know that I was invited. So right around 4 o'clock, if you don't need to be in the traffic area of the first block of North George Street around the Judicial Center, probably a place to avoid if you want to avoid any kind of traffic. And then at 6 o'clock at Penn Park, our local community leaders are gathering again to discuss solutions, to discuss strategies to work together. And so that is another event that I will be at 6 o'clock. So let's continue York to show our best side, because I'm so proud. I'm so proud of York this week, and for our history, and for what's going on in the rest of the country. You really showed that you want your focus on the message and not on some kind of negativity that can delegitimize our voices. So thank you all, and I will definitely see you around the city of York this week. Have a great week.